In this week's show, Ethan meets with Beverly Kingdon to discuss the reintroduction of the trumpeter swan into Ontario. For craft time, JC shows us how to make a hummingbird feeder. Maggie joins Dave Moore at Britannia Conservation Area to see what she can find. And watch for pictures and drawings from your backyard. Our Birds in Your Backyard representative Ethan meets with Beverly Kingdon to discuss trumpeter swans' reintroduction into Ontario.
Why are they almost extinct?
Well, a very long time ago, they were hunted. They were hunted for their feathers and for leather and for their eggs. In 1932, they discovered 69 birds were left. So at that time, the government initiated a protection program for the birds. And that was very, very good because now we're still able to have trumpeter swans.
When did they come back to Hamilton Bay?
The first ones to migrate here was in 1993. The pair came with their 6 cygnets. That was the first time in over 150 years that trumpeter swans had mated in the wild and migrated in the province of Ontario.
Are they still endangered?
We now have approximately 1,200 trumpeter swans in the province of Ontario. And so now, through all the efforts of a very, very great group of people who worked very cooperatively together, we were able to bring back a self-sustaining flock in the province of Ontario.
How do you know it's a trumpeter swan?
The very surest way to know that it's a trumpeter swan is listens to its call. It trumpets, just like a real trumpet. And an adult trumpeter swan has a pure black beak. They have pure black legs and feet, and their body feathers are all pure white. It's a pretty big bird when you consider it weighs up to 35 pounds. That's a lot bigger than your turkey at Thanksgiving's, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes. When they all come here in the winter, we usually have families with 3, 4, and we're lucky if there's 5 cygnets with them when they migrate here for the winter.
What is a cygnet?
A cygnet is a baby swan, and when the cygnet is hatched, he turns a little brownish gray color. When it's about a year old, a year and a half old, all those dusty gray feathers fall out, and he grows nice new white feathers and becomes a beautiful white swan.
So it's just like that one, like it still has some brown on it.
That's because that bird is only just under a year old.
Why do you put yellow tags on the birds?
We put yellow tags on the birds so that we can trace them and so we know exactly what bird it is that we're dealing with.
How can other people help?
It would be very helpful for us if people would report to us where they see these yellow tags. And the information we need is the color of the tag that they see, the number that's on the tag, and the location and the date of when they spotted this swan. That's it, see?
Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt. Hold your hands flat like me. See? That's pretty good, isn't it?
There's more? When is the best time to see them?
In Burlington, the best time to see them is from October to April. January is the very, very best time because they're flying a lot. You can get lots of very beautiful pictures. And the reason they're flying a lot in January is because some of the first ones start to migrate north in February, so they're out exercising their wings and building up their muscles, preparing to go back up north for the summer.
Why do you volunteer?
I volunteer, number one, because I do love the swans very much, but I am a great believer that every one of us has to try very hard to give back. We have to try to undo some of the mistakes people previous to us and our ancestors made when they didn't have the knowledge. So I believe it's our responsibility to help undo those damages.
Coming up next, we make a sweet treat for hummingbirds. Identify this bird. This bird is commonly seen in open woodland areas, particularly around streams. They nest in trees from 3 to 50 feet high and lay about 5 eggs. They are from 14 to 17 centimeters in size. This bird eats fruits and sometimes insects. You can identify this bird by its large head, small neck, and silky shiny feathers. It has a black mask across its face, and its tail is gray with a yellow tip. This bird has red dots on its wings, which look like wax. This bird has a high-pitched call and can be heard from quite a distance. A group of these birds is called an earful or museum. This bird is a cedar waxwing.
Hi, welcome to Birds in Your Backyard. I'm JC, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a hummingbird feeder. The tools you'll need to make a hummingbird feeder are a baby food jar, some modeling clay, but make sure you have the color red because hummingbirds are attracted to the color red. Some tools to sculpt the clay with, some wire, pliers, a rolling pin, a drill, and some glass beads, because when the sun reflects on the beads, the hummingbirds get more attracted to your feeder. The first step is to make sure your jar is clean, just like this one. You're only going to need the lid for this part. Next, you can pick out your clay. I've already opened some clay earlier. I use red and blue, but you can use any other color you want, but you're going to need red. Now we have to roll out the clay. Work it into your hands until it gets really soft. Next, you're going to take the rolling pin and flatten it so it's the same size as this lid. And after that, we're going to place the lid onto the clay and make sure it's just the right size so the clay doesn't go into your food. And then we're going to use our modeling tool and we're just going to cut it off so it's the right size. Now we can put this aside and take the red now. And we're going to cut a piece of the modeling clay. And we're going to place it on the board and start rolling it. And now we're going to cut out little flowers. Now I'm going to place the petals onto the lid. And once you're done placing the petals on the lid, now it's ready to be baked. With help of a parent, put the lid in the oven to bake. Follow the instructions on the package, but I found that 275 for 15 minutes was a good average. I have one that I already baked earlier. And now drill a hole through the middle of the flower so the hummingbirds can get their food. If you're too nervous about using a drill or you've never done it before, you should ask a parent before using it. Don't forget to wear your safety goggles. And drill a hole through the middle. And now you can place the lid on the jar. Here's a piece of wire that I already cut earlier. Take the wire and make sure it is equal on both sides. And wrap the wire around the jar. You might need some pliers for this part. Hold on to the wire with your pliers and twist the jar. And then when you think it's tight, take a piece of the wire and make a loop. And now, grab one of your gems and put it through a piece of the wire. And bend the wire so the gem will stay on. Next, you're going to have to bring the wire to the front so the hummingbirds can see it. Now just put some hummingbird food in it and hang it outside and your hummingbird feeder is good to go. For more recipes or other crafts, including this one, go to birdsinyourbackyard.ca.
Coming up, studying chimney swifts at Queen's University. Identify this bird. These birds are easy to spot because of their size. The males can range from 91 to 112 centimeters, and the females range from 89 to 94 centimeters. The average weight is about 20 pounds. This bird has no feathers on its head, legs, or feet, but has lots of brown, black, red, and copper feathers on its body. In the spring, the male birds spread out their tail feathers to attract females. When this bird is calling, it sounds like gobbles. You can find these birds in the southern portions of eastern Canada. They like to eat corn, apples, acorns, bugs, and fruits. The Pilgrims use these to celebrate Thanksgiving. This bird is a wild turkey. Our Birds in Your Backyard representative Nick goes to Queen's University in Kingston, Ontario to meet with Professor John Small to discuss the study on chimney swifts.
So what do you do here at Queen's University?
Well, in a university, typically we do two major types of things. One we might put under the guise of teaching, and the other is research. Teaching is communicating the results of previous research, or communicating knowledge, let's say. Research is knowledge creation. We're creating new knowledge, and we do both of those things typically in the universities. Chris Grooms, my assistant, is an avid birder. They were worried about chimney swifts, which is this insect-eating bird that has been declining in Ontario and other parts of North America. There was this big chimney that was built, back in the 1920s over here at Queen's University. In the 1990s, they'd put a cap on it, so they kept the birds out. And Chris wanted the cap released so the birds could use it as a habitat, because these chimney swifts, at night, they go into and they roost and they live in the chimney, and it's a place where they can live. Well, he got the chimney uncapped, but he looked down and he saw 2 meters of droppings, bird droppings at the bottom of this chimney. He called me over and we went to go and take a look at it. And this is how science often goes. It's a big surprise. We looked at it. Well, I said, it might be 2 meters of droppings, or it might be something important. And we thought, much as what we do with lake sediments at the bottom of a lake, we thought, well, if birds have been accumulating these droppings, maybe there's a history of what they've been eating, and maybe they'd be hints as to why these bird populations are in trouble.
We also met with Chris Grooms, leader of the chimney swift study, who showed us what they found.
I discovered a big deposit of guano from years and years of swifts roosting in that chimney. Guano is bird droppings mainly. They bring up pellets of undigestible insect bits. This is a sample of the guano that comes from this Fleming Hall chimney. If you have a look at it, have a look and see. You can see various parts of the insects in there. Right in here there's a very neat little mouth part from an insect. And this would be a wing cover from a beetle. And this big thing here is an ant head.
So what's the current status of the swift population?
The chimney swift in Canada is listed as threatened. And they listed it because of its sharp decline. In the last 40 or so years, it's declined over 95% in numbers. And we don't know exactly why they've declined, but one thing that they have in common with all the other aerial insectivores, the birds that catch insects on the wing, is diet. They're all eating insects on the wing that they catch in midair. And so this is the only record that an aerial insectivore, an insect-eating bird, leaves in one place that we can examine. Conveniently, chimney swifts just make these big deposits in the chimneys when they roost at night, and that's a good model for what's happening to insect populations in the environment. If the swifts were affected by that forced shift in their diet, forced to eat poorer food, then they wouldn't have been able to produce as many babies, and so maybe that's the cause of their decline. That's what we think, anyway.
Will the study help the chimney swifts?
It could be very valuable for conservation of not just swifts, but all birds that eat insects, because it is kind of a mystery why all the birds are in decline like this, and if we can find out why, is it contaminants, and has it changed in the past throughout the range of the swifts and all the other insect-eating birds? If we can find reasons for the decline and that are linked to these diets and chemicals that they're exposed to, we can maybe change something to help conserve them, yes.
Thanks for joining us to tell us about your chimney swift studies.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for your interest.
Coming up, we join Maggie to see what birds they can find. Let's join Maggie as she learns how to identify birds on an exploring walk with Dave Moore at Britannia Conservation Area in Ottawa, Ontario.
When's the best time to look for birds?
Well, early in the morning, because when the birds wake up, they're really active because they've
Yeah.
been starving all night long. They're looking for their breakfast. Things sort of quiet down as the day goes on, and then there's a little bit of a flurry again in the afternoon, late afternoon, when they're feeding and getting themselves ready for nighttime.
Yeah.
I think I hear an oriole.
What does an oriole look like exactly?
He's all orange with black and white on him. Orioles sound a little bit like very quiet robins.
How do you tell the difference between all of the chirpings and birds?
Well, let's listen for a second. You can hear the red-winged blackbirds with that cookery.
Oh, okay.
There's one flying, just going to land down there.
Oh, yeah, right there?
And now there's some warbling vireos here too, and they can be found usually way up in the top of a tree, and they're a little brown bird. And they have a funny little song that goes doodly 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 doo. Sounds like they're asking a question at the end. And then the yellow warbler says, "Sweet, sweet shredded wheat." And he's all yellow. And there's one just down there singing. So
All right.
let's go and see if we can find it.
Now, what do they look like?
Well, they're about a little bigger than a chickadee,
Okay.
and they're yellow.
Cool.
And
Okay,
they're quite bright yellow, and they've got a little stripes of red going down on the breast. Oh, there was one calling there. Come on, sing for us. There.
There you go.
Sweet, sweet, sweet shredded wheat.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll say, sweet, 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 choo, choo, choo. And all the warblers have slightly different songs, so you can tell one warbler from the other
Cool.
without even having to see them,
Yeah.
if you're lucky.
How do you find like a good place to see all of the birds?
Well, birds are everywhere. They got wings, but one of the best places is your own backyard. If you've got some place where they can shelter, like bushes or some trees, and if you provide some water for them. They don't need to put food out.
Yeah.
Some people like to do bird feeders, but the main thing is if they have some kind of water feature in your backyard,
Yeah,
like a bird bath
Yeah.
or just a little pond of some kind that they
Yeah.
can get water. If they feel safe and they can get something to drink, you've got a good chance of bringing birds right into your own backyard.
Yeah.
I keep a list of all the different species of birds that I've seen in my backyard.
Well.
And, you know, it's almost 100 different types of birds. Oh, you know what that is, flying?
Yeah, crow.
That's a crow. How about that guy up in the dead tree?
Oh yeah.
You should know those guys. They're all over the place. There's probably more of those birds in North America than any other.
Cool.
A red-winged blackbird.
Cool.
And they nest in the reeds and the rushes
Are
down
there
here.
more of those birds than like robins?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
because they nest everywhere. There's one in that tree right over the path.
Okay.
See the dead branches
Yeah.
sticking out? Just above where there's a few leaves, there's one sitting up.
Oh yeah.
You see him?
Yeah, he's just really.
Yeah, get him in your... Oh, there he goes.
Oh, there. Yeah, he's right there.
He went up into
And then he went in
that
that tree right there where the bugs are.
That was a yellow warbler. And they nest
Cool.
around here.
Yeah.
And he's probably feeding on those bugs. See, look at all the bugs around the top of that tree.
Yeah. Oh, that's a lot.
Now, what's the other bird that's in that tree? Just right, see where there's some dead brown leaves hanging on that tree?
Yes.
If you just look there in the middle, you'll see a little bird wagging his tail. There, he just
Oh
flitted
yeah,
up.
right there, right there. Yeah.
Get your binoculars on him.
Yeah, that's so cool.
That's an eastern phoebe. It's a type of flycatcher.
Yeah.
And what he'll do is he'll sit like that on a branch, and he'll wait for a fly to go by, and then he jumps out and grabs it and goes back and sits on the branch to eat it.
Cool. Does he only eat flies?
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
maybe he'll eat one for us. Look at the way he wags his tail. That's how you can tell it's a phoebe. from all the other kinds of flycatchers. And there's a cardinal just landed just to the left where the branch curves down.
Oh, yeah, right
See?
there. Yeah.
That's the female cardinal. At this time of year, they eat bugs too.
Cool.
They'll collect them and take them back to their babies because bugs have got a lot of protein in them.
Yeah.
And protein's good for the babies, helps them grow. Now the female cardinal's not all bright red like the male.
Mm-hmm.
Because she has to sit on the nest and she doesn't want to be seen. Well, there's one we haven't looked at. Get your bins on that, see if you can see it. It's got a really, really shiny blue head.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
There he is, that's a common grackle.
Cool.
And when they fly, their tails look like wedges. They don't look
Yeah.
square like other birds. So the birds eat the bugs, and they also eat all the berries like these on these trees here.
Oh, yeah.
There's all kinds of berry trees. So you get things like cedar waxwings and robins. There's a robin. And there he goes again. They don't sit still for long. You've got to be fast with the binoculars.
Yeah. How do you tell the difference between all, because some of them look alike and...
Well, there's usually what you call field marks on the bird.
Okay.
So, like the yellow warbler looks an awful lot, say, like a female common yellowthroat warbler.
Okay.
They're both yellow.
Yeah.
But these guys have that little bit of red on them.
Okay.
So if you see a bird that's all yellow without any of that, you have to have another look and see. But these guys like to nest up in places like this, where it's higher and drier. And a common yellowthroat would be down in a scrubby little bush
Yeah.
near water. This is a field guide for eastern birds, which is eastern North America. And it has all the different kinds of birds.
Do we have those here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now these guys, they've got a lot of yellow on them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these guys here. And we have these guys here.
They have a bit of red.
Yeah, that red striping on there. See, so that's a yellow warbler.
Yeah.
And we have them here. Now, if you saw a yellow bird, it's got a little bit of stripes, but look at the top of his head.
It's all red, yeah.
Yeah. And this one has got a lot of yellow on it,
Okay.
but the wings, look at the wings. It's got like
Two
white.
little white marks and then...
Yeah, they're called wing bars. And so
Cool.
you use the different field marks
Mm-hmm.
to show the difference between the different species of birds.
Cool.
There's
Oh, there's one of the yellow ones right
Yeah.
there in that tree.
Just came down and landed.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one, you can actually see the red on his tummy and on his sides.
Oh, yeah, right.
And a little bit of red on the top of his head, too. So this is a good book.
Yeah.
Carry something around, a kind of a field guide.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing you can do is take a little notepad with you
Okay.
and make little drawings.
Of the birds.
And they don't need to be good. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you can just draw a circle and put little lines on it showing where you saw something that looked a little different. And then
Yeah.
when you get home, you can get your book out and you go to your, did it have wing bars? And you look at your drawing. And if you do wing bars,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so you can help identify things just by making little field notes.
Cool.
Sweet, sweet, sweet shredded wheat.
Oh, yeah. Over there. Thank you very much for teaching me about birds.
You're quite welcome. I hope you had a good time.
Ben sent us this nicely colored white-crowned sparrow with its eggs. There's a bluebird family with 3 little chicks sent by Jack. Here's a robin. This was sent in by Nico. Peter sent us this picture of one of my feathered friends, a chickadee. Lisa sent us a pretty picture of a blue jay in a tree. And here's Will with his finished and painted birdhouse. Anna, age 8, sent us this robin. I like his orange beak. Here's Emily's favorite bird, a blue jay. Finally, Maitland sent us this colorful bird. For more information, go to birdsinyourbackyard.ca. And don't forget to send us your photos and drawings.